Wow, that looks like a little intense. Thanks for joining me on my first, oh God. Did you get that? Gotta murder, make up your mind. Amazing. Let's find out what happened to Kathleen Peterson. What really happened to the Peterson family? The reason it was 13 episodes. The home is mostly empty on the night of December 9th in Durham. It's a large house. I think the only ones that would have been young enough to be staying or using a room in the home was Margaret and Martha. This is a split family we're discussing. They married in 1997. Kathleen was working for a company that no longer exists, and they were involved in a hefty scandal 10 years after she passed. Manufacturing and telecommunications of some sort. She was an executive. Confirmed. Second marriage for both Michael and Kathleen. Michael was married before to Patricia Peterson. Patricia taught English to children staying on the military base in Germany. And Michael was interested in getting involved, a higher position possibly for the Marines. But they ended up in Germany together. There they had 2 children, Clayton and Todd. Michael and Patricia had some friends, neighbor friends, that they got extremely close with. The Ratcliffes. The Ratcliffes had 2 children, Margaret and Martha. Unfortunately, friends pass. Michael adopts Margaret and Martha. About a year later, Patricia and Michael get a divorce. And Todd and Clayton stay in Germany with Patricia for a little bit. Ultimately, they all end up back in Durham. Michael takes Margaret and Martha. So, what the frick happened? They were spending time together outside. Kathleen went inside. Michael came in a bit after to find his wife at the bottom of their staircase, covered in blood, gashes and all. The 911 calls. Breathing, not breathing. Paramedics get there, but Kathleen has been dead. In fact, because there was a lot of dried blood. Kathleen's blood alcohol content was 0.07%. I started reading, and I think like maybe in one of the 911 calls, because I can't really find it brought up like throughout the case or the autopsy, but I think Michael suggested that she like took Valium. The home is no longer a safe space because it is entirely a crime scene now. They're kind of like shooing Michael out of the way, very adamant to make Michael know that he's a suspect. Immediately, Michael has to find a lawyer. With how bad of shape Kathleen was in, Michael was the only one home. He did it, but Michael said he didn't do it, and his kids say he didn't do it. Even Kathleen's daughter from her previous marriage saying that they were deeply in love and that this could never happen. He had an autopsy done. Injuries initially concluded that she had damaged thyroid, neck cartilage, 7 total lacerations to her scalp. Medical examiner Deborah Radish says that the cuts on her head were definitely caused by a blunt force object. The defense team hired Henry Lee, and he concluded by looking at the alcove where she was found, splatter that was rightfully created from a massive fall. 15, 20 stairs? I don't know. That's what Michael says in the 911 call. Like, she fell upwards of 15 to 20 steps. Going to trial, newsflash. Okay, Michael's being accused of whacking his wife. And they say, no, not possible. Because Kathleen didn't have any brain damage, nor a fractured skull as a result of these blows. Full evidence of anything except Kathleen appearing an absolute mess. There was angles from the prosecution in ways that the defense team just wasn't prepared for. They tried their best to really discredit Michael as a human being. The goal, right? The year is 2002. The case is now gaining a lot of momentum from the media. They pitched it to the jury that Michael first lied about some medals that he received in war. In reality, he received papers to head out because he was injured after being involved in an accident. The campaign as like a mayor candidate. The biggest turning point is when they bring up that Michael is bisexual. Michael wasn't out, if you can imagine, in 2002. Michael would go online to plan excursions with specifically men via email. Email records, some definitely happened when he and Kathleen were married. They also brought up writings and pieces of work, military fantasies that Michael had created during his time in Vietnam. And this was the prosecution's golden ticket. Michael killed Kathleen because on December 9th, she found the emails, his fantasies, whatever. And Michael says multiple times that Kathleen knew about his relationship, like about his past life. She knew everything. Big bummer, because Caitlin, Kathleen's daughter, and Kathleen's sister are homophobic because when this info was presented in court, they got off the Michael's innocent train real quick. He lost a lot of support because of this coming into evidence. So let's go into the object, right? The one that Michael used to just bash his wife's head. They just kept referring to it as an object for like 2 months. They chose an heirloom, like a family heirloom that the core family unit that she grew up in, they all got matching blowpokes for the fireplace. So when they were at the house, apparently this blowpoke was missing, nowhere to be found. I mean, law enforcement moved it when they were searching the home at one point. This trial lasted forever. I mean, they rode the blowpoke thing for a long time until the defense team found the blowpoke propped up in front of a metal pipe in Michael's home. But it was a couple months into the trial, and then out of nowhere, David, Michael's attorney, thought it was really slick to just like bring in the evidence, bring in the magic blowpoke, right? It meant nothing. They just kept moving forward. They disregarded it as the weapon. 1985 is when Margaret and Martha's blood mother passed away, shortly after their father passed away from the heart attack. Well, prosecution thought it would be swift to mention that Elizabeth Radcliffe, their mother, passed away in Germany in 1985. She was also found dead at the bottom of her stairs. This matters because Michael was the last one to be seen with Elizabeth Radcliffe. He was having dinner with her the evening before and helped tuck Margaret and Martha into bed. He felt no need to investigate at the time of her death due to her already pre-existing conditions. This also, bringing up Elizabeth Radcliffe into the case, included exhuming the body, which was buried in Texas, to have Texas medical examiners take a look at the body. And then they also flew the body to Durham, could take their look at Elizabeth Radcliffe's body. The medical examiner in Durham concludes that it was with the intention of homicide, even though the US and German police felt no need 20 years ago to investigate when it actually happened. Prosecution had no way to accuse Michael of also killing Elizabeth. Like, they just needed to bring in the information, so it added speculation. Who also died at the bottom of the stairs wasn't a bad move to plant the seed. Michael's team said that this was unlawful to pursue like further involvement in the case. All information from Germany was almost not applicable. It was the longest trial it is North, how embarrassing! It's the longest trial in North Carolina history. In 2003, Michael was found guilty of premeditated murder, life in prison. You should really watch the documentary for the reactions, like in the courtroom.
It's good stuff.
So at this point, I mean, I have reasonable doubt. The jury started like pretty much split, like half thought that he did do it and then half thought that they did not. Michael goes to prison. He exasperates all of his appeals and it's looking a lot like he's gonna die there. So 8 years and there's a news break. Unethical allegations surrounding Durham, North Carolina's SBI. Wayne Deaver, his position at the time was SBI analyst. Like a better way of explaining its title, blood splatter recreation experimentalist. This man would recreate bloodstains or splatters that were found, like taken into evidence in the crime scene, whatever. It's little Deaver just like hacking away, hoping that he like hits the mark. That's what happened. Or after multiple days and lots of tests, like he was successfully recreated one of the stains that was found on Michael's shorts. So what does this mean for Michael though? It was proven Deaver was not fighting for the people or state. His work is concluded unethical. He is suspended from the SBI and then terminated for good. 25 years, and he falsified 34 cases. Michael was his third. So yes, Michael gets out of prison, but he's not done yet. The reasonable doubt was overwhelmed by the matter of facts Deaver told to the jury. Some lashes on because I really wanted to wrap this up.
What the frickin' that happens, right?
Told to the jury. So Michael got out. However, and they don't really find answers until 2017. From him being released from prison and with avoiding another trial, and his options were has to either A, go to trial, or B, plead guilty and find some sort of plea deal. He was very adamant about not agreeing to pleading guilty. Doesn't want to do a retrial. Family also encourages him and says that he's too old. You know, it didn't help that he couldn't represent Michael again. But he did do so for the retrial hearing. Michael was like, David, how do you think I feel putting my family through this? It's only been about me for so long. Is it worth it for them to fail me again and just to put me in jail one more time? This was pretty pivotal because Michael probably would have won. Like, he took the Alford plea, admit that he did it, got off with a criminal title. And that's my look. And that's the story of the death of Kathleen Peterson. The jury thought that Michael committed the crime because of the amount of blood, 7 lacerations on her head. The judge was also interviewed at the end of the process, and he said that he wishes that he had the opportunity to make things right at the retrial. So, oof.
There was a lot of gloss to go on those lips.
Did he do it? Unfortunately, it doesn't really matter. The narrative and what I was talking about is that we as the audience are on the defense team from the beginning. In the interview that I read with the director, he mentioned that like David, Michael's lawyer, had instructed the film crew to ship their footage to Paris, that if anything was going to be filmed, in no way that it could get back at them or that Michael could be sabotaged. It is what it is. Legally, he's guilty. But this case is so messed up. They couldn't use a lot of the clothing that they were talking about before because over the years, evidence from Kathleen's crime scene, her clothes, Michael's clothes, were just thrown and stored into a box with other victims. So they can't really usable because it wasn't even stored properly. All of the evidence has been dismantled in the previous trial, so why wouldn't you just go through with it? Why wouldn't you just finish?
On the bottom of my eyelash.
How embarrassing. Okay, now that I have mascara on. Hi. And for Kathleen, you know, she must have just been pure magic. She just didn't deserve it. And it saddens me, opinion, there's no justice for her because we don't really know what happened. I have reasonable doubt. I don't know why he wouldn't retrial. I don't know, but I do not think that he killed Kathleen. I made up mine, you make up yours. I'm really excited to be back on YouTube. So much for being here and watching. Please subscribe, get it out there to other people who might enjoy this kind of content and true crime and makeup. Please join me for another Murder and Make Up Your Mind next week. Bye guys.